Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Could use the chat or you could open your mic. How's it?
I'm good.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Okay, done.
I'm good. I'm fine, sir.
Okay, nice. Thanks for the feedback. So these days, the place kind of a little warm, and you know when the place get warm, you want something cool to drink, or if the place is cold, you want something warm or some hot soup or something. Or think about now, it's on the weekend and if you need to make a small lime, so you go for a gyro or a burger. How possible does this sound? So I'm going to put up a poll. Let me know if this sounds like something that you could picture happening. So there's a poll up. Right. So is it a familiar situation? Right, thank you. So when we go and we eat something or drink something, we call that entire process consuming, right? When we consume our food, it has to go through the digestive system. The digestive system is used by the body, and if we recall from lower school form 2, there's this little flowchart you would have learned in organization within an organism. Similar cells group together to form. Could someone turn on the mic and tell me what is the next thing? Similar cells group together to form.
The digestive system.
No, we're going back to form 2. We do another recap before we go to system. Okay, I'll do the first one for you. Similar cells group together to form, starts with T.
Tissues.
Tissues, thank you, Kavya. Similar tissues group together to form
Organs.
organs, nice. Organs group together to form
Body parts.
Anybody else? Thank you, Kaden.
The organ structure or the organism.
You're almost there. Organ systems or just systems. And systems group together to form the organism. So, each from Form 2 you would have learned of the different types of systems, organ systems, you learned of all the different kinds, circulatory, skeletal. But for our topic, we are going to focus on the digestive system. And this forms part of the bigger topic which we are looking at, which is nutrition. So, so when we think about digestion, I want you to put an answer in the chat. When you think about digestion, what comes to your mind? So put your answer in the chat, everyone. Thank you, Brianna. Breakdown of food. Brianna, could you add in your surname to your username, please? Kaden, thank you. Take nutrients from food and waste product. Okay. That's a kind of crude way to put it, but yes, that's a good attempt. Coffee, breakdown molecules from the body from food. Melanie, breakdown. Okay, nice. And process of how food is broken. Yes, very good, guys. You all did a pretty good job. So what we would have is digestion is that process, and we have to keep this in our mind where large comes to small and small comes to smaller. The entire gist of digestion is bringing large to small. When you look at like cartoons, you typically see them eating burgers. They take a whole burger and just stick it in their face. Would that work in real life for us to eat a burger or a gyro? You could use your mics.
No.
I don't think we can.
No, sir.
Safely without choking and dying. Yeah, it's unrealistic. Yes, thank you. So, what would happen? We cannot do that. What would we do normally? You could use your mics.
Smaller bites.
We take a bite. Nice. You all agree? Thumbs up if you. Nice. Right. So let's picture a burger. It's round, it's a circle, and if we take a bite out of that, we would actually make that entire burger smaller. We are taking a small bite from it. From that bite, what do we do now?
Good.
Chew it. Yes. So what would happen? We would have the human digestive system going to make things smaller and smaller. But does chewing it alone and with your mouth alone, is that the end of digestion?
No.
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 No, thank you. No. But next question. Since we talk about organization and different cells and tissues and things, does all the pieces or components of the digestive system look the same?
No.
No. Remember, you would have looked at the digestive system when you were in lower school. This is because they have different functions. Alright? So, let's look at this short video to get a little better idea of the digestive system.
Look at this juicy burger. Doesn't it look appetizing? It has so many good things in it that my body needs.
So, just as we described, but at least here we get a visual. But I think the burger that I would have bought or the gyro, the patty would have looked a little bit different, right? So.
But I didn't see anything.
Fats in the meat and cheese.
Your share screen isn't on.
Carbohydrates in the bun.
Pardon?
So we're not seeing
Your
anything.
share screen isn't on.
Oh, you're not seeing it? Okay. Just give me a second.
Vitamins.
Right. You all seeing now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Look at this juicy burger. Doesn't it look appetizing? It has so many good things in it that my body needs. Protein and fats in the meat and cheese, carbohydrates in the bun, vitamins, minerals, and fiber in the salad.
Right, so from the last class, we would Remember, we went through all these, the macronutrients and the micronutrients, and we were able to identify them and pull them out from the food groups. You all remember that?
Yes, yes.
Nice. So this is how we have it as a continuation, right? Under the same big topic.
Fibre in the salad. But how can I use them? I need to get them into my blood, and this burger is never going to fit. That's where digestion comes in. Digestion is the process of breaking down food to make it soluble in the blood. You can digest food in two ways, mechanically and chemically. When I put this burger in my mouth, I do both types of digestion. My mouth breaks it down mechanically using my teeth. This mashes up the food into smaller pieces. My saliva carries out chemical digestion. It contains an enzyme called amylase. That takes the big starch molecules you find in the bun and breaks them into smaller pieces called maltose. However, this is just the beginning of the digestion.
Right. So, as we mentioned here, we would typically have the both types of digestion taking place. So digestion is basically broken into two forms, chemical and mechanical digestion. If I was to ask what you think chemical digestion is about, someone give me an attempt to tell me from your general knowledge and science what you think chemical digestion might involve.
Using the enzymes in certain parts of your body to break down food.
Alright, nice. Thank you, Kiran. Anyone else? One more person?
Is where the body uses enzymes to break down food particles into smaller food particles.
Yes, thank you. So we are using chemical reactions, and yes, we are using enzymes to break down the food. So we said we use chemical digestion, but that's from the enzyme, and we looked at saliva containing salivary amylase. But we also mentioned mechanical digestion. You would typically hear mechanical or physical digestion. The answer, we already discussed this, but it's just putting it together. What do you think? So put in the chat, what do you think is mechanical digestion? So we already discussed what takes place in the mouth. So recapping, chemical is with the chemical reactions using enzymes, and now what is mechanical digestion? So type in the chat, everyone, your answer. Okay, thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Kavya. Kiran. So far we have physical process of chewing food into smaller particles, physically breaking down the food into smaller bits, using your teeth to chew and break down food into smaller pieces. Then we have physical breakdown of the food. Right. So yeah. So let's see if anybody really missed anyone. Okay, waiting on Rihanna. So as soon as Rihanna answers, we'll continue. Rihanna, you want to open your mic if you're not getting through with the typing? Ah, nice. Breaking down the food into smaller parts. Very good, guys. So you all did well. So yes, mechanical is where you physically break it down into smaller parts and you use force. Now, what structure we identified in the introduction of the class when we talked about that burger and the croissant and whatever, what structures we use in the mouth to mechanically break the food down?
Your teeth.
Teeth, right? So would you say your teeth would be a specialized structure? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice. And so while we're still in the mouth, we identify the teeth. We talked about the salivary gland. Is there anything else in the mouth that helps us in digestion of the food in the mouth?
Your tongue.
Nice, the tongue. Anybody could tell me anything about the tongue? What is start off simple? What is it used for that you know of?
It pushes the food around your mouth.
Nice, good one. It pushes the food around your mouth. What else?
It makes a bolus so the food can be swallowed.
Nice. One more answer.
So what was the question?
The tongue. What do you use the tongue for in digestion?
It helps mixes the food with the saliva.
Nice. Very good. So yeah, you all are correct. So we would have the tongue, and the tongue is a specialized muscle, and it basically massages the food and mixes it with the saliva, because remember we said it's chemical digestion taking place, and it would roll it into a ball, and as someone mentioned, called a bolus, which it makes it easier to swallow. So when it mixes it with the saliva and everything, it moistens it and makes sure it's nice and ready to swallow. Alright, so let's continue the video and see what next we have.
Of journey, and a lot more needs to happen before this burger is going to be small enough to be absorbed into the blood and taken around to all my hungry cells that need the nutrients. The next stage of digestion are summarized in the next videos of the journey. Humans carry out internal digestion as the food is digested inside our bodies. However, other organisms digest the food outside their bodies. Fungi, for example, are called saprotrophs. This means that they secrete enzymes out of their cells onto food around them and then absorb the nutrients once they have been broken down. Houseflies do a similar process where they secrete a solvent onto the food and then suck up the nutrients. Lovely. Imagine spitting on your burger until it's just a soup and then eating it. Yuck. Anyway, let's get back to humans. The whole process of digestion can take a long time. It takes 6 to 8 hours for food to pass through the stomach and small intestine, and almost 40 hours before you see the remains of your burger coming out the other end. Probably the most amazing thing about digestion, however, is that a lot of it isn't actually done by ourselves, but by 100 trillion bacteria living inside our guts. They help break down certain foods for us, make vitamins, and help with the immune system. So there you go. With the crushing, some enzymes, and some friendly bacteria, you can turn this juicy burger into small, soluble molecules that can be carried around in the blood.
Right. So, so they just mentioned that what we brought together, everything that we discussed earlier on in the class. So we did the intro, we reached as far as the mouth. So what we're gonna look at now would be having you to be able to identify the different components of the digestive system. So here I have a presentation. Right. So what I would like you to do now, take a minute and familiarize yourself with this diagram. Look at it. You could use your pencil or your finger and follow where it goes. Look at all the different components and what they do. Right, so any of these components look different or strange to you? No, thank you. Right, so far we looked at what takes place here, and usually this is because this is the only thing we could see, the external part. So when we hopefully brush our teeth in the morning and after every meal, we gargle, mouthwash, we floss regularly, go for checkup every 6 months. That's what it's supposed to be. Change our toothbrush every 3 to 6 months. Right, that's the only part that we are able to see, so we are most aware. But look at how many different specialized organs are present in the entire digestive system. So if you notice, we have the digestive system going down like a track, and think about like a race course, a racetrack. It would pull corners and zigzag corners and go into different directions and then out, but it is one road. So too, the human digestive system is one pathway, and the food goes through each path, and then it would be processed along the way with different activities. So from the mouth, could someone tell me what's the mouth? We have the mouth here, oral cavity, contains the teeth and tongue. This is what we just discussed, with the salivary glands. Right. Then we have the pharynx. Could someone tell me what is the next two labels in that order if we follow this structure going down? Yeah, go ahead.
The esophagus.
Right. So the esophagus, that's this tube going down, and then it meets the
Stomach.
thank you. So you would see the stomach is this large sac-like structure from the stomach, it would meet up these separate organs here. They would meet. So think about it like a junction. So the road or the racetrack that we are looking at, think about it have those little side roads that coming out it, but we're still on the main road. So you would see liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Those would be along the way. They would meet up right after the stomach. After the stomach, we go down into this part here. Someone read this label for me. After the stomach, we'd go to the
Cow body.
someone
Small
The
intestine.
small.
small intestine. Thank you. And if you notice, this is called small intestine because the diameter itself is small. So if you notice, it's tightly coiled and packed. Think about your garden hose. Your garden hose could be long, like 100 foot or something, and you could coil it up, and it would take up a little less space. So from the small intestine, we move now to, which is this part here?
Large intestine.
Large intestine. And what do we notice the difference between the large and small intestine? Visible. What are we noticing about the difference? And this is how we get the name.
The large intestine is bigger, larger.
Yeah,
Small intestine.
very good. Yeah. So we have the large intestine here. So after we are able to identify, then we'll learn about the functions of each, right? So we have here the large intestine going all the way up, and then we have this area here called the rectum. The rectum is where we would store the waste material for the process of digestion. And the last bit, the exit, is called the anus. Alright, so this is what we have here now. Any questions? Okay, thanks in the chat. Alright, so 1 second. Right. So what I have now for you, I have the main parts of the digestive system. You all see my share screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so these are the main parts of the digestive system and the different processes which take place. So we went through the mouth. So could someone tell me what the esophagus does from this table?
It's like a pathway for the food to travel.
Right. So the esophagus is a pathway or channel. It's basically a tube which carries the food from the mouth to the next part, which we identified just now, which was the stomach. So what we need to know now, or understand or appreciate, is that no digestion takes place in the esophagus. It is only transporting the food from one point to the other. Alright, Just show of hands, how many people have access, or do a poll if you have access to a file page. It doesn't matter if it's used or not. So I do a poll there if you have access to a file page. Alright, so those of you who have a file page, what you can do, let's do an activity. We're gonna roll up the page. So this is there's a copybook page, and you have lines going across the page, and I'm going to roll it into a tube. So take a second, take a minute and get a page and make a tube. So hear me out when you got your page, and you roll it into a tube. Thank you, Kavil. Thank you, Kidan. Melanie, thank you. Brianna, nice. So let's inspect our tube. If you notice, by rolling it along the length, the lines went around. So when we look at it, the lines form rings around our tube. Everybody seeing that? Nice. So let's imagine now this tube is the esophagus. Let's imagine this tube is the esophagus, and each one of these rings or these lines is a muscle, and a muscle could do two things. Could someone remind me what are the two things a muscle could do?
Contract and expand.
Contract and change the second word. Someone else? Contract and
Relax.
relax. Right. So thank you.
And relax.
Yes. Thank you. Contract and relax. So what would happen if each of these contract and relax? What would happen to the hole when it contracts? The hole would get bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
Smaller.
Right. So let's do this experiment now. So I'm going to squeeze the underneath of my tube, and I'm going to drop this pen, or it's a liquid paper pen, right? And I drop it down, and it remain there. So you can drop your pen down into your tube also. So I'll give you a second to drop it down. So each one of these rings would be a muscle, and each muscle could contract and relax. So what would happen? Let's try this. If I squeeze one at a time, in turn, what would happen to your pen, or what are you seeing happening to my pen here right now?
It would slowly move to the end.
Right, thank you. Everybody else, you all getting that when you press against your tube?
Yes, sir.
Nice. So what would happen? This exact thing takes place in the esophagus. The ring muscles take turns in sequence, contracting and relaxing, and push the food down. So we have a special name for this. It is called peristalsis. So peristalsis is the process by which the ring muscles in the esophagus contract and relax in a wave-like motion, pushing the food down. You all got that?
Yes, sir.
So, in your words now, I want you to, two persons to describe what is peristalsis. Remember, we're actually using the terms with the esophagus and stuff, right? The paper and thing was just to demonstrate. Describe the question. Melanie has to repeat. Describe what is peristalsis, which occurs in the digestive system, from what we just demonstrated there. So you can take a second, think about it, process what we did just now, and as soon as you're ready, you all could give it a shot. Yes, contracting. Yeah. Yes.
Use the term constriction because it's
Yeah. But in this case, yeah, if we're talking about the size of the space, the lumen or the hole inside, we could say constricting. But the action of the muscle itself, we would say it's contraction. But yes, so that's one part. Sorry. Someone else?
This is where the ring muscles in the esophagus contract and relax in a wave-like motion.
And a few words to complete it. Someone else? In order to why are we doing this contracting and relaxing?
To push the food down.
Very good, thank you. So good job, guys. So we are gonna push the food down. So we have now the stomach. So the food reaches the stomach. Very good attempt there, Rihanna. Peristalsis is when the circular muscles in the walls of the esophagus contract behind the food and the muscle relax. Front, a wave-like motion. Right, so all you need to add in there is to push the food forward or down or something, Rihanna, and you're good to go there. Very good attempt. Right, so let's go back to, right, so all of that to just say the food travels from here to here. The stomach. So the stomach now is filled with something called hydrochloric acid, and that helps break down proteins. So together with enzymes, the hydrochloric acid would help break down the proteins. And then we have the action of the pancreas. Someone tell me what the pancreas does here.
It makes the
Alright, thank you. It produces digestive enzymes, right? So what's gonna happen, we're gonna be looking at the pancreas is gonna produce enzymes, the liver, the gallbladder. Remember we said they would secrete substances at the end of the stomach where the food would come out. So what would happen at this point in time, you would see here liver would secrete bile, So that is going to help break down fats. So at this point in time, the rest of the large food molecules would start breaking down. And when it starts to break down now, it would be in the intestine. So while it is going through the small intestine, it's gonna be breaking down in the beginning part, and then it is going to be absorbed. So what is going to be absorbed at this point? Just to see if you are lost. What is going to be absorbed in the small intestine? Remember water, alright.
Vitamins and ions.
Vitamins, ions. What else?
Sugars.
Sugars. And if we say sugars, automatically what are the other food molecules we talk about? We break down carbohydrates to get the sugars. What other food molecules we could break down?
Proteins. Fats.
And fats. Very good. So when all of the enzymes help break down all of the different food molecules, those broken down molecules, which are now called simple molecules, are absorbed in the small intestine. And then from the small intestine, we said we'd go to the large intestine. And here now, large intestine basically sum up, it reabsorbs water and whatever minerals that needs to be taken back up. At this point in time, everything that is present in the digestive system is pure waste material. And we have a fancy name for it. Anybody knows the name for that fancy material or substance?
Feces?
Feces, yes. So what would happen? The feces would go through, and after a while it would fill up the rectum. So that's like a little storage area, and when that is full, the rectum is full, your brain would it would tell you, it's like, hey, time to use the washroom. And this now is where we have the process of egestion. And process of egestion is getting rid of unused waste material ingested. Any questions? No? Okay. Alright. So take a second just in case anybody else have any other questions. Right. So what I want you to do now, let's see, I have here a worksheet, one of the live worksheets. I want you to go through this worksheet, and you're doing this now in class, and you would screenshot your mark and upload that for me. Right, so hail me out in the chat when you are finished uploading your screenshot. Okay, so thanks for indicating you finish with the live worksheet. So what we have here today is the digestive system. We learned about we learned how to identify the different components. We learned the functions of the major parts of the components. Right. So we got a view of the video. Do we have any questions? let me put up a poll. Do we have any questions on what we did today? Okay, 4 to 5 people. Okay, nice. That's very good. Okay, so coming down to the end, let me have a reflection or one thing from today's class that stood out for you. Anyone could go first.
Okay. Mechanical digestion involves breaking down the food substances physically into smaller bits.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Melanie. Next person.
The mouth doesn't really have mechanical digestion, but also has chemical digestion.
Okay, nice. Thanks. Thanks, Kiran. Next person.
Diastasis. This is where the ring muscles of the esophagus, they contract and relax in a wave-like motion to push food down.
Okay, nice. I like the variety of answers I get in today. Who else? I didn't hear Rihanna.
So, well, I learned that the esophagus just transport the food from the mouth to the stomach, and also learned that paralysis is a motion, like is a wave, and that how in the esophagus we have circle-like muscles in the walls, and that it contract and relax in order for the food to get to the stomach.
Okay, nice. Brianna.
Sarah, in the chat.
Oh, okay. All right, nice. So before I wrap up there, I know we have a few minutes again. Before we wrap up, what do you think reverse peristalsis would be?
Repeat, please.
What do you think reversed peristalsis would be? What would happen if peristalsis occurs in the reverse direction?
That's throwing up.
Yes, it is. So yeah, it's
Took me a second.
yeah. So you see how your vocabulary is very important. So so you could relate certain things easily and just break it down. So yeah. So once you get your scientific vocabulary in, you should be good. All right. So we have 5 minutes again. So what I would like you to do, a couple people did. For the next couple minutes, or for homework, you are going to write the table down with the parts of the digestive system. All right. So for the next 5 minutes, you are going to work on this for me. All right. Any questions before we go?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, goodbye, everybody. I'll see you all next week. Remember, if you all need help or anything, feel free to message in the WhatsApp group or the email or anything. Right. So have a good week, everybody. Be safe. Goodbye.
Same to you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Bye.